All right, Gibby, we're back, and what day is it?
It is the day that Moose isn't here to record us? What are you talking about?
I don't
What
even
day
like
is it?
that. It's the day of high school football, baby. We're back. Football is back in Wisconsin for the high schoolers. First day of practice is today. Our Big Rivers champions from last year are back on the field getting ready for another great season, hopefully.
Yes.
It'll be exciting. And we're going to talk a lot about that, not today. So we're not going to disappoint anybody. We're going to do a little football preview, Gibby, but I was disappointed. I figured a guy like you would know it. I get that Brinkman.
I knew that they started practice today.
No, you didn't say it. I mean, it's
know I
just
did.
not that hard. But no comment.
Just so everybody, yeah.
Just Brinkman didn't say a word.
We talked about it last week, so I thought it was just...
Right, I
Yeah.
just thought it was, yeah, exactly.
All right. You guys aren't into it today. So what are we talking about today, man? I heard rumor on the street is I was spending time with my family with some little 12U softball and then a little Legion baseball. But where were you guys last weekend?
We were at Cedar Lake Speedway. Come on, you're better than I am than that one.
Cedar Lake Speedway, racing.
We're at Cedar Lake Speedway. Just turn left.
It was the USA Nationals this
Yes.
past weekend. They put on 3 nights of great shows.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Gibby made friends with a lot of people out there when I was out there with them on Friday night. It was but it was super cool. I believe it was Mike Jr. and
Nate.
We're
We're going to throw their picture up on the website.
We'll
by
get
the way.
their picture up on the website. Darth Moose
Moosey.
over there, he's not quite going to be able to get it done for us.
So,
Anyways,
but if you look at Darth Moose, he is racing his horses. He's got a
racing.
little horse
He
in
does
his
have a little
left
horse in his
hand there,
hand.
grabbing it by the butt cheekers.
Oh, yeah.
Not really sure what Moose is doing today, but he's in Darth Moose land with a horse. Does that
with a
surprise
horse.
you guys?
With a horse.
Not at all. But anyhow, yeah. So
Gibby and I met the family lives in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. The guy's name is Mike. Super nice guy. And his 2 sons, I don't know, I guess like 12 and 8, 11 and
Somewhere in
7.
there, yeah, somewhere in there.
Just younger kids. But they come up every year for the USA Nationals, and they have a camper that they sleep in, along with, I didn't realize this, for this last weekend, they had 1,300 camping sites that they'd sold.
So I
that's
saw
unbelievable.
I saw a video from a picture from 8.28. I think it's a Todd Ellison. I think out of Amory does a lot of video and cameras. He had a view, must have been a drone picture looking down, and man, you can see the campsites. It is a good picture. It is pretty cool. Campers everywhere, and I know that this is obviously one of their biggest weekends, if not the biggest. I believe
it is, yeah.
So I did see that. So 1,300 doesn't surprise me based off what I saw, but that does sound like a lot.
Well, it is. I mean, it looks like a little city down there. It was crazy the amount of people that they had, but unbelievable.
We should get those pictures too on the website. That we saw those same pictures, and there's actually one where it literally looks like just off of Cedar Lake there is a small town.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
it's crazy.
It's unbelievable. The big winner of the weekend,
Ryan Gustin.
Ryan Gustin wins $100,000 for winning the feature Saturday night. So,
And again, we're going to a $350,000 purse. And again, you may have to explain that to Scribner that it's not a Louis Vuitton filled with $350,000.
I might have heard about that a couple times in the past week from people. Might have heard. Yeah, they didn't have a Louis Vuitton.
It's kind of so you
Mrs.
guys would,
Heinbuck was walking around with on her hip with
Right.
$50,000.
Right.
That was
Handing it out.
That's what all the winners got over the weekend.
I'm so glad you two smart, intelligent folks told me that, because I would have never known.
Well, you learn
My
something
word,
new every day.
jeepers.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, folks, this is what I deal with. 2 clowns
But Ryan
trying to talk
Gustin-
to me about racing because they don't realize nothing in life. They're just slow clowns.
On Friday night.
Oh, is that a new purse?
On Friday
No,
night.
seriously, was this a different black purse or is this a red purse?
This is a red purse.
Okay, all right.
On Friday night, we got to Gibby and I got to watch Richmond's version of Deion Sanders, Gavin Taurus.
Yeah.
He raced on Friday and Saturday night. I couldn't make it out there Saturday night. I was busy, but we got to watch him race. I understand you got to watch him do his second sport on Sunday.
Yeah, he was down in New London playing a little baseball on Sunday. I talked to his dad, raced. Sounded like Friday did okay, if I remember right. Not as good on Saturday is what I kind of remember Andy said. But then they did drive down for a little Legion baseball. But I know about Cedar Lake. Obviously, a great group of people out there running that. They sponsor us, so you got to give them credit there. But this is just an amazing. I've been out there for different races before, but I've yet to make it out for a big event like this. I've been out there when Jeff Gordon was out there, I think, or something like that. And Dale Earnhardt, Junior came, I think, once, right?
Yeah, that they had
and I know that's been pretty big. But I've missed, every year I miss it. Brent Donnie's always like, you got to go see it. I'm like, one of these days I'm going to get out there. But this weekend I was tied up. But just knowing the people that go to it and how many, it's just crazy. And then, cool that they walk around with the black purse that you guys probably took money out of. But that's a big win, for these guys. Probably doesn't cover what they got in it for the year, but that's one that you want to go for and win. So that's a cool thing they do, and it's like you said, it's awesome.
And another thing I want to mention about this last weekend, the USA Nationals, it's so beneficial to this area of our county because on Saturday the restaurants in Richmond and Star Prairie and all that are full. Well, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And the hotels.
Thursdays,
the hotels
too.
are full. I mean, everything around here sees the advantages of having a top-ranked dirt track, really.
Yeah.
People don't realize how well-known and popular and top-ranked the Cedar Lake Speedway is. I would agree, and I think that's something people don't realize. And, they put these events on every weekend, just not like this, right? But you always see cars coming through around, people staying, but obviously I was gone most of the weekend, but I would imagine the impact to the economy in the area was huge.
It's unbelievable. I mean, even all the way as far as Stillwater, they said a lot of the hotel chains were booked up. I know here in town, my trainer always doesn't really worry about booking hotels in Richmond, Wisconsin. But he got here, and they're like, we're booked, sir, sorry. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. And we talked about him just staying at my place, and then they had a late cancellation, so he was able to stay. But just they never sell out. I mean, and the impact, like you said, just the restaurants, the hotels, the gas stations. I mean, everything at the hundreds of thousands of dollars that brings into the community is huge.
And to think about it, good thing for his trainer. Otherwise, he would have to stay at Gibby's place. I'd feel sorry for Chad. Let me tell you on that one.
One last point I'd like to say, too, is kudos to the staff at Cedar Lake Speedway. These people have done an amazing job. It's clean. There's families everywhere now out there when you go out there. Hats off to them, everybody involved with Cedar Lake Speedway, involved with last weekend. And another neat thing for me, at least, was all these kids out there working. They're all kids we see at Tiger Athletic events.
Or they are athletes themselves, which I think is pretty awesome, right?
I mean, these are kids that are, Cedar Lake Speedway does a good job of hiring kids from the high school. And think about it, if you're a kid, I mean, it's one night a week.
They make great tips. I
agree. So kudos to Cedar Lake Speedway. You have a new fan in me. I am hooked. I can't wait to go back out there again and have some fun.
Yeah. Kudos, hats off to Chris Heimbach, very good friend of ours, in charge of grooming the track. I think that's what they call that, right?
Yeah,
grading the track, grooming the track. But I heard that it was absolutely top notch, and he was telling you that he did it quite quickly the other day, and it took how long, Brinkman?
4.5 hours average between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 4.5 hours a day he would grade the track, and he said it went fast because the track was in such great shape, just the perfect amount of moistures. I know they talk about having to add water all the time. He added water one time on Friday night, which I guess is great. So,
well, the one thing I would do, I'm sorry, Cedar Lake Speedway and Chris Heimbach, by allowing Andy Brinkman onto this. Now he's a fan of that, so you got to deal with him more. So hats off to you guys, I guess.
But future podcasts going out there. We know that for sure. We've already talked about that, so we can't wait. It's going to be fun. You work on that voice, Andy. I think you get about halfway there, or maybe three quarters.
Racing at Cedar Lake Speedway.
There we go. See?
He won't be on here anymore then? Yes.
Wisconsin's fastest dirt track.
All right, so then you talked about it. You saw Gavin Terrace racing next day. I'm watching him playing Legion, so a little touch up on the Legion boys on their post 80 out in Richmond. Didn't make it to the state tournament. They played 3 games. They won on Friday night, 2-1 victory over Medford. Winning pitcher was Aiden Eckert. He pitched a really good gem down there. Tigers played great on Friday. I went down Saturday, watched. I thought they played pretty good too. Jordan Rice pitched really well. Beaver Dam was a pretty good team. They hit the ball where we were not.
Yep.
And, sometimes that's baseball, but we hit the ball hard. It was just right to them every time. We had some zingers, man. Let me tell you. And they also made some great plays. There was a couple diving plays. Give Beaver Dam a ton of credit. They just played great. But Jordan Rice pitched good. I mean, you can't fault him. He pitched 6 out of the 7 innings, and we couldn't get a break. And then we came back on Sunday, and at noon played the elimination game, and we just couldn't get a break in the first inning. Dropped down 8-0, but next inning we battled back, got 5.
Yeah, we were super excited watching that thing, Brinkman. We were just about to hit here or there, and we were leading, and we just couldn't quite get it.
Yeah, and then speaking of Gavin Terrace, he just laced one in the fourth inning. I think it was 8
left field gap, I think, wasn't it?
But it was caught.
Yeah, he dove to catch it. With
He
2 guys would have
was
scored
running away, dove, because we had runners on second and third. That would have been a tying double.
That was huge.
And you got to give the credit where credit's due. Bondo, that kid, I thought it was over his head. At first, I didn't think it was going to be much of a play. Like it was going to be pretty easy, but that thing just carried, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Gavin just hit a two-run gap or maybe a triple there. And that guy just stretched out and caught it. And I mean, he was laid out. I thought that was, to me, that was sort of the game. I figured if we would have tied it there, we were going to come back and win because they were running out of pitching. And Truman Weiss, he gave up 42 pitches in the first inning. A lot of errors, just not a good inning. But he only had 42 pitches that inning, which I thought was amazing. Give up 8 runs. I thought there was a couple of guys on when we got the third out, so he pitched pretty dang well, and he battled all the way back, pitched really good, and just couldn't pull it together. We had bases loaded, I think, twice with Max Kretovics up, which, hey, that's the guy you want.
Perfect,
I think one time he laced one, got caught, and the second time I think he popped up. But, situations like that, you just needed a couple of hits here or there, and they would have pulled it out. But kudos to them. They went down there last year, didn't get a victory. This year they got one, so it was fun. Cool field, Hatton Memorial Field. Wood fence, a
brick, looked like a stone fence.
So I asked what the deal was. It's built in 1935, I think, and that is where they used to play all their high school football and baseball games. So it used to be a football field, which makes sense.
Because
it's so big and wide.
How much, how on that.
Yep, and then the high school was just down the road of them, and we actually drove by it. Lindsay and I did, and must be 15 years old, but there is a football field out there. Sure. Their old one in town did not have room for one, so that's why it was there. So kind of a really cool, brought your own, hey, if you wanted to sit in the main part of the old stands, you bring your own chairs to put up. There was no bleachers. You just cement. It was kind of cool. It was a neat place, and it was good to go down there and see. But on top of that, Lindsay and I didn't have a room. We stayed down in Fremont, Wisconsin, little town, 700 on the river, on the Wolf River. If you've ever been there, you got to go.
Really?
So we cruised in. We were going to stay. We went and ate at a supper club. Then we're going to stay where the team was. It was like $250 for a room at the old American. And we're literally like, well, what about the room across the road there? And the guy's like, I wouldn't go there. People get stabbed there. We're like, what? And we knew there was New Richmond people there. But I heard they paid $250 a night there. We ended up going to Fremont, $100. Drove across the river, lights everywhere. You could tell there's a lot of establishments in that. And Lindsay and I were going to go down, but we were just, what are we going to do? We don't know anybody. So we didn't, which was kind of odd. We just kind of basically watched the movie, went to bed, get up in the morning, we go down there, have coffee, and see what's going on. Well, it is a cool little vibrant river setting, multiple bars. They had a community center down there where they had a wedding the night before. We were talking to some large boats, like 30-footers. And I'm like, I'm looking at the map. Oh, they were able to get there from Lake Winnebago.
Oh, wow.
So there's obviously a lot of action up there. And talking to a guy, and let's just say, I think he had to clear the cobwebs out of his
He was at the wedding party the night before?
He said no, but we ran into the wedding party. And let me tell you, we had fun. He said, oh, I didn't realize I bought pizza last night as he come out of his boat.
Yeah.
But cool. And I asked him, so you can get down to, Oshkosh. And he goes, yeah, it's about a 2.5-hour drive down on Sundays. It's no wake zone on Sundays. But he goes, I can't even tell you how many places you can stop. It's really great. So a cool place. I'd highly recommend it. If you ever needed a spot in the summer, people said it's a pretty cool spot. So it's kind of neat.
So yesterday I don't know with it being double elimination if you'd call it a semifinal game or whatever, but it was the two teams that beat New Richmond, Beaver Dam and Bondwell played. And Beaver Dam beat Bondwell 5-0. So Beaver Dam is playing tonight at 5:30 against Seymour.
Yeah.
For the championship.
For the championship. And Seymour does have a loss. In fact, the Seymour's loss there is to Beaver Dam on
so
Friday,
Beaver Dam just has to win, and then they win it.
Otherwise, they'll play again tomorrow. Yeah.
So that'll be the Legion AA state champion. But now let's just roll into another one. We talked about them a couple weeks ago, and they are even hotter. The Milwaukee Brewers are just smoking. They just swept the Washington Nationals. First time ever that the Brewers have two season sweeps of a team. One was the Dodgers this year already, and they just did the Nationals. My gosh, the
68-44, man.
They
Let's
are
go.
rolling. And the Friday night game, they won like 16-9. They had 25 hits. Come back the next day, do the same thing. We're listening to it on the way down. Like every time you're in that Wausau area where there's not the best radio stations, and I'm checking the different one to get it better. I swear, every time I did it, they're scoring a run.
Yeah.
It's great. And
It's like a
everybody's
softball
hitting.
game in this last series. It was unbelievable. Well, they had the Vital Systems stat of the week: 25 hits in one game.
Yeah,
It broke the Brewers
about,
record.
What about 56 in 3 games?
Yeah, they
and
broke
that broke
the
a record.
record.
56
Yeah.
hits.
Thank you,
Vital Systems.
Systems.
It was just crazy, and it's been fun. I don't get to watch them as much. I do listen to them, and it's not the same. I was talking to a softball guy, Jake Reek, last night. Great guy, and his wife's the coach for my daughter's team, and he's like, the team might be a destiny with Bob Uecker, passing away, but
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
He's like,
Good point.
the only thing that we're missing is Uecker calling it, man.
Yeah,
But he's
right.
like, hey, maybe it's a season of destiny for Uecker, and I mean, Ueck's upstairs probably just enjoying life right now, watching his Brewers win.
So that brings up a question I have for both of you. Is baseball a better game on the radio or on the TV?
On the
'Cause
radio.
I have my opinion.
On the radio. It's
I
not
think
even
the
close.
radio by far. I really do.
Out mowing the lawn, out planting, whatever you're
Yeah.
doing outside, staining the deck, painting, whatever, listening to a baseball. I'll tell you what, when I was a little kid, when you'd be outside playing, I'd have this radio going, and we'd be playing whatever game we were playing, Tiddlywinks as far as I knew, but just to hear Herb Carneal say, "Good evening, everybody," just to hear that was just so, it was the start of a great night for you because the Twins were on the radio.
Yeah.
I think with I was a Brewers fan, obviously a better club there. And listen, with Bob Uecker, you can't go wrong, right? A little outside, the
Right.
old.
Here we go. Yeah.
What do you call it? Major League there. But I agree. And I think that the one thing baseball has done, which, baseball is sort of becoming a little better on TV with the pitch clock. Like, I
Yes.
didn't know how I'd like it. I've been to some games I think I went to the Brewer Twins game last year, 2 years ago. And you forget, like, it ain't like before where you walk around, you come back, the inning's still going. It's like, it's 2 innings later. And it's like, holy smokes. And
That's
before
a
you know
huge
it,
thing, though.
it used to be 3.5, guaranteed, basically. Like, if you got a 3-hour game, that was amazing.
Right.
Now it's like 2:15, 2:20 all the time. So these innings fly by because you remember, in between innings at a game, or even on the radio, you're still getting your 2.5, 3 minute commercial break, right? But it's fun to go. The one thing I would say, Brinkman, it's more fun to go in person now with the pitch clock because it does go pretty quick.
Agreed.
I mean, but it's still, there's nothing better.
But like you said, I was just thinking about this when you guys were talking about it. Due to technology, I think what they would do is they would have AI do something with Bobby Uecker. Oh. Like, it's ridiculous, but they can do it. They can make him announce, like,
it'll happen.
Let's just say, like, it's probably just a pump up video or something like that, but it's going to have his voice talking about this season because AI can do that.
Well, the thing is Uecker bobblehead day, I think, is in a couple weeks. If I remember listening on the way back, they announced it. So maybe look for that. You might be onto something. If you're not on something, you're on something.
Yeah.
So is it D'Astasio? Is that the owner of the Brewers?
Mark Astasio.
Yeah, whatever, however you pronounce his name. When they went to Uke last year and said, we're going to do one more bobblehead of you. Bob Uecker said, I want it to be me in a coffin, as a joke. And then this happens this year that he didn't make it to see it. But Bob Uecker.
So his bobblehead in a coffin?
I don't know what they're doing. But that's what Bob Uecker wanted to have happen because he thought it was so funny.
You never know. Ueck is Ueck, man.
Oh.
Right. And that he takes things. I mean, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, to be how he did it in Major League, the movies. I mean, I'll never forget that. Like, I don't think when I was younger, because that came out in late
it was
80s?
I think I was probably in 8th grade or something like that when that came out.
Well,
I think because
I'll look it up quickly because the point I'm saying is like I always listened to the Brewers, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together right away, and then I'm like, oh, that's Bob Uecker,
right.
So a couple things about the movie Major League with Bob Uecker. He didn't have any scripted lines.
Really?
And everything he said was things that he wanted to say during a Major League broadcast that he never would say because Bob Uecker, he said the thing he was the most proud about his broadcasting career is that he never once ripped a player during a game.
1989. So that would have been, I was still listening.
Okay, I was going to say,
so it wasn't one that I knew. It took a little bit to put face to name to face, right? But it's funny, and you go back now and you watch it, because then you think about, remember, Ueck then became a hit with Miller Lite, less filling, tastes great. I mean, all the commercials there, and then just extrapolating that out to the different.
Mr. Belvedere.
Yep. Yeah.
Nobody was on the Johnny Carson Tonight Show more than him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's just, and then, Johnny Carson always ripped him on his batting average. And he always ripped himself, right? So, but the thing about it is these Brewers are so crazy. The pitching, you had the Miz, he got hurt. They brought up Logan Henderson back, who was 3-0 with a 1.78 ERA. Just pitched yesterday, pitched great. But, the thing about him, like Jackson Cheerios hurt. There's some concern there. Sal Frelick went out. But the guys they're putting in, they just keep hitting. Like Isaac Collins is another rookie, had a great a 3-run bomb last night. You got Durbin that we've talked about with Nolan's brother. They're just a fun young team. And then what you think about, you got Yelich there. And I was listening to the game on the way home on Sunday. And they talked about how Yelich had a 3-0 count. You're up 14-1 at the time, 3-1, 3-2, and he took. And Lynn Grindal, I think his name is the announcer. I think that's right. Was saying, like, that's how Yelich plays. He could be swinging for his own stats, right?
Right.
Get a hit. But no, he's setting the tone that, hey, you get on base, right? You start it, right? Lead off walk. And it's something that I've always, again, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but with Yelich, he's not flashy. He's just a guy that goes out every day and does work and puts the work in. And the one thing I want is Yelich to get into the playoffs healthy.
Yeah, I know it.
If we can do that, I think, you think about Woodruff coming back, pitching great, man.
Oh, yeah. He looked good.
And then you got Peralta. He's always good for a loss here or there.
I think Peralta's going tonight.
But then you got the young guys. The thing is, like, who do you sit? Like, I was talking to Jake Reek that. Like, you got Woody's going to go, Peralta's going to go, and Priester for sure. Well, Miz is going to come out there. But you got Quinta, I think. You got Henderson. Like, if as long as Miz is just a little bit of his forearm, when he got hit there, he's been just lights out.
Oh, there's no doubt.
But that's a good thing to have. You got those long relief if you need it, right? To save a relief guy the next day. They're set up for a good run, and I think you brought it up, Brinkman. The Cubs, the Brewers got the best record in baseball. What'd you say, 68? And
we right now
44.
are 68 and 44.
So over 600 win percentage. And then the second best team is the Cubs, 3 games behind.
65 and 47.
And like you were saying, that's the best race right now in all of baseball, and that's going to go down the wire. And again, I was talking baseball last night. We just gotta win the division and gotta get that home field advantage, the best record. Sorry, because that'd be huge. That's just something that the Brewers haven't done. So it'd be fun to watch. And man, these guys. The other thing, because we're talking about how they got hurt, but they just run. They run like they're
old
always
school ball.
Yeah. They're not playing, like we always talked about it in the past, Brinkman. You'd have some on this with the Twins, this kind of that small ball. Like, I don't feel like the Brewers are playing small ball. They're just playing great baseball. They're hitting when they can. They'll take an extra base here or there. Pat Murphy's got them playing good, and it's fun to watch.
Oh, there's no doubt. And before we get going off the Brewers, I did want to. The old Euchre quotes are always the best. But we could go on forever, but there's two I got to talk about because I think this one's not as funny, but it's exactly what we're talking about just right now. When Bob Euchre said, "On TV, the people can see it. On the radio, you have to create it." And that's exactly what baseball is, right?
Yep.
But this is one of my favorites. Euchre's quote, "When I came up to bat with 3 men on and 2 outs in the 9th, I looked over at the other team's dugout, and they were already in street clothes."
To me, the favorite one is I was so-and-so's special catcher. He was a knuckleballer. And when people ask me how you catch a knuckleball, you just wait till it stops rolling, and then you pick it up.
Yeah, Uke was something. Well, I got one now. We're on the brink with Brinkman. How are your Minnesota Twins doing, buddy?
Absolutely a dumpster fire. This is just I listen, I love my Minnesota Twins. They've tested me the last week. I mean, trading 11 players in 3 days. Trading Carlos Correa and paying part of his contract and basically getting a bag of used balls back. It's just unbelievable. But I'm going to say this right now, and yep, I'm probably emotional about it, and I'm probably hurt, and blah, 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 blah. But as far as I'm concerned, this was one final screw you to the fans from the Pohlad family. I don't care how they want to paint it. I don't care what they say. This is an ownership group that in 2 years ago, I was at Target Field when they won their first playoff game in forever. And the stadium was packed. And so what did they do that winter? They came out and cut payroll by $30 million because they didn't have a TV contract, they said. But now it turns out really they could have had them, but they did that. And now they keep cutting payroll. And they're for sale. And the guy that's running them, the Pohlad, Joe Pohlad, is disturbed that people don't realize all the great things the Pohlads have done for the Twins. Enough. Sell the team and be done with it. You know what? We got a right to be heard, if our feelings to be heard if we're fans, because this is ridiculous.
Well, how do you feel, buddy, like about guys that did move on, like Duran? I mean, when the other night when he came out in that game, I mean, it was like they recreated his iconic entrance. It was like I had like goosebumps, like my hair was standing up, and it was he went in, struck up. I mean, it was awesome. Hit 103 miles an hour or something, or whatever it was.
Friday and Sunday, he plays in front of sold-out crowds in Philadelphia. Friday night and Sunday night, because it was dark.
It was Sunday night. Yeah.
So they shut the lights off and they play the music. Griffin Jack's just a great player. Just so many. You're
not going to cry, are you, buddy?
He's on the brink.
He's on the brink of tears.
But we talk about players getting in trouble. Jordan Anderson, we just found out, has been suspended for 3 games, and and you hear of all this stuff. You never hear of Twins players getting in trouble. The organization does have some good culture to it. Don't always agree with what they do, but this one just stinks if you're a fan. Why would I go to Target Field for the rest of the season to watch the Twins? Right. Now, this is a team that was the first team ever to draw 3 million fans in a season back in the Metrodome back in '88. They were the first team to ever draw 3 million fans in a season. This is at that time they were playing Saturday night games in the Metrodome, and I mean, it was just a disaster, but they did it, okay? What this ownership has done is they have taken them to a bottom 5 team in attendance.
But look at the bright side. If you want to watch your Minnesota Twins, just get a ticket for the St. Paul Saints. Yeah. Cheaper, same baseball.
Yep, exactly.
By the way, I live in Richmond. I have Hulu. I can't get the Twins package to buy up from Major League Baseball. So that's my rant. I'm done with it. But, there's a lot of great Twins fans in Richmond, and I'm sorry if I offended some of you, Don Springer, obviously, if I offended you by my little rant there. But, boy, that's just a tough pill to swallow. When 2 years ago, they were they gave, in the second round, they gave Houston all they could handle, and they just blew it all up.
Guys, folks, everyone at home, That's On the Brink with Brinkman. He's on the brink of tears over his Minnesota Twins. And me personally, I'm okay with it. But just so you know, buddy, if you need a hug, there's somebody outside.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We'll be talking. We're going to have our special guest, Jason Wolf, the new AD of the New Richmond Tigers, on next week. And again, we'll probably get some updates of the football, some more, and then we'll be doing a football preview the following week, the week of Tiger football. So we're only 2 weeks away of Tiger football. I'm Scrib.
And I'm Gib.
I'm Brink.
And we got Moose. Darth Moose.
Darth Moosey.
With a horse.
He's not here, so we actually have to go now walk and shut it off. Scrib. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks.